first and maybe last and maybe only episode of Becca Bakes Boston, quarantine style. So many of you have asked, with all this extra time on my hands and doing our best to stay indoors, could I do a little bit of a video? And so here's my shot at doing that. So first, we're gonna show you what the goal for today is. We're going to make an amazing cake from this awesome cookbook called Cake Confidence. I'm not gonna share the recipe with you because I'm just gonna encourage that you go ahead and buy this book, but here is what the goal of what we're going to try to accomplish today. I have spent months deciding what kind of cake I want for my 30th birthday, and I definitely decided on this book's mint Oreo cake. So we're gonna get started. What you're gonna wanna start doing is to put all your wet ingredients first. It's really important to separate the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients. So first I'm gonna start with my eggs. And there's one egg white in there as well. And let's just get them all the wet ingredients in here. Get some vegetable oil, some vanilla. I brought some vanilla back from the Dominican Republic. It smells amazing, and I find that it's a little bit more rich in flavor. So if you're ever traveling, I would totally encourage you to get some baking ingredients when you're abroad, because things definitely have a better flavor. I feel like the whole kitchen smells like this. And then in this cute little shot glass here, we have the mint extract. So we're gonna add that right there. And that's plain going by. So go ahead and add your homemade buttermilk. And then a really cool ingredient that you find as a really extra little special secret to a lot of different baked goods is sour cream. All right, so we have incorporated all of our wet ingredients, and now it's time to add the dry. Now, a super important thing to do when you do add your dry ingredients is to actually sift the dry ingredients into your mixture. So it's always easier if you take the whisk attachment out for a minute. So here we're gonna sift in some cocoa powder. And the reason why you do this simply is just to avoid clumps. So especially if you have some cocoa powder that's been sitting for a while, it might get a little clumpy, so you wanna make sure that you're sifting it nice and even, and then it's gonna incorporate really nicely into your wet ingredients. So this is mixing together. It smells amazing. I can smell the mint in here and the chocolate, and I cannot wait until my birthday till I can eat this. Okay, so I scraped the sides, and now for the last thing, I'm gonna add in some chocolate chips, as if we needed any more chocolate in this recipe. And there you have it. It looks super creamy and fluffy. And what we're gonna do is, next step is we're going to prepare the cake dishes. So I'm gonna make a 3-layer cake. All right, so this next trick is totally gonna save you next time that you are making a cake. Have you ever had the experience where you spend all this time getting the ingredients together, and then all of a sudden, you go to take the cake out and it sticks to the pan? And then when it sticks to the pan, it has these chunks, and it makes it a lot harder to decorate. So I'm gonna show you a surefire way to make sure that your cake doesn't stick. So first, you're gonna wanna get some good cake pans. So you can use really any kind of shortening. I typically use butter, but I've found that doing spray is a lot easier lately, and it's more simple. So you're just gonna take your cake pan and do a quick spray into all 3. Now, that's trick number 1. Trick number 2 is you're going to do a dusting of flour into each. The flour is amazing because it really helps it to not stick to the sides. So that's 1. And 2. And you're not gonna taste this. You don't have to worry about it getting on the edges or anything like that. Especially when you're gonna be coating the cake with icing, you don't have to worry about it. Now if you were going to be doing some type of crumb coat, you might see some of the flour. So that's just something to think about. I had forgotten the flour before and just did the spray and the parchment paper, which I'm going to show, and it did work out okay. So usually, at least if you have one of these, you're going to be okay. All right, so the next trick is, if you remember, you can use edible markers. I just placed the cake pan over some parchment paper traced and got a circle so that I could put it right in here. That is the trick to having amazing edges to the top of your cake. So you're just going to place that right there. And then your cake pans are ready to go, and you don't have to be stressing for the next hour to wonder if they're going to stick. And then just do a big scoop. And then you're going to want to make sure that these are pretty even. So I always start just with a little bit to begin with. So there you have it. Now just start your oven and set it for 325 degrees, and cakes usually last for about 30 minutes. You don't want to open up the oven door because that's when your cake is going to sink in the middle. So leave it at 30 minutes, and then you can start checking with a toothpick to see if it's done. We'll check back in soon and see how they turned out. After exactly 32 minutes in the oven, this is what we have. It came out perfectly. No big clumps, no lumps, no sinking. Again, that's because we left it in the oven and didn't open the oven door. Now, to just make sure that they're done, you can simply take a toothpick and go into the center of each cake, and it should come out clean. Then we're gonna take these and put them in the freezer. Right now they're still pretty warm, so we need them to freeze for at least 30 minutes. Longer is better because it's much easier to decorate a cake when it's cold or even frozen so that the icing doesn't melt. The next thing that we're gonna do is make some minty green buttercream. I am so excited to taste this. It's gonna go amazing with the chocolate cake and really get that mint Oreo flavor. This is also, again, from the recipe book that I showed you at the beginning. I'll make sure to leave a little bit of a description of the book there too, so you have it. What I have found is so helpful is to really bring your butter to room temperature using the room. So take your 2 sticks of butter, and for this recipe, it calls for a block of cream cheese. You're gonna use this attachment. You can also use the paddle attachment, but I really find that this gets it super fluffy. And this is the patient part. You're gonna mix this together for about 7 minutes or so until it's really light and fluffy. So we've just mixed the cream cheese and the butter together for about 7 minutes, and you can see that it is so smooth and creamy right now. It is ready for the next step. So now what I'm gonna do is add some more liquid ingredients. I have some vanilla. Always put vanilla in my buttercream. And we have some more mint extract. And then a pinch of salt. Pinch. And then some heavy cream. Then I have about 6 cups of powdered sugar or so. So first I'm just gonna mix these together. And then once that's incorporated, I'm gonna slowly ladle in my powdered sugar a little bit at a time. This is the part where it can get super messy, but that's okay. My trick is to just add a little bit at a time. Come on, you'll see. We're gonna make a simple chocolate ganache drip. There are a lot of recipes out there. I've found that equal parts of both seems to work just great. So I have a half a cup of heavy cream here, and then I have some baker's chocolate. So I just measure them out and make sure that they're about equal. Then you're gonna wanna put it into a glass measuring cup because we're gonna stick it in the microwave. and just break it apart into these little pieces here. And the reason I'm putting it in the measuring cup is because it has a nice little spout here, and we're gonna put it into a drip bottle here to make it really easy to put on the cake when we're done. And it's important that we do this while the cake is cooling because we need the chocolate to cool. If it's too warm and runny, it could drip down the sides of the cake in a melty way instead of a nice drip way. So once we do that, we cover the chocolate pieces with heavy cream, and we're gonna stick it in the microwave for about 1 minute and 30 seconds. All right, so I just took the chocolate and heavy cream out of the microwave. It is super hot, and I want you to come take a look here. You just start mixing and mixing, and it starts kind of creamy, it's starting to look like hot chocolate, and you just mix and mix until it becomes that super dark chocolatey color that you're looking for. And it might seem like it's not gonna get there, but trust me, it will. Just keep mushing it around. Once you have it fully incorporated, we're gonna put it into our drip bottle. And do it nice and slowly. I always never get it fully. For the final part, we're gonna stack the cake. We're gonna put some chocolate ganache and icing filling in between both the layers. And then we're gonna put the crumb coat on. So I'll show you how to do all of that. And then we'll put it in the refrigerator for about 15-20 more minutes just for it to chill, and then do the last coat. One last thing before I hop in is I want to put some mint Oreos in between the layers, but I'm going to crush them first so that they're pretty easy to eat, and when you bite in, you don't have a huge chunk. OREO cookie cake. This was so much fun to make, and I hope you enjoyed making it along with me. I'd love to see if you guys try this at home. Send me a message, make sure to tag me at Becca Bakes Boston, and I'd love to see your work. Remember, don't be too hard on yourself. It can be really tough in the beginning. There's a lot of different factors, including temperature and ingredients, and even just being able to find ingredients. But have fun, improvise, send me a message. I've enjoyed baking with you today. Bye!